Can you believe we are already back and on day 13 of Instagram Quilt Fest? I can't believe how time is flying by, and it seems like there's so much happening and nothing all at once. So it's been a great time. I've been traveling a little bit and having some fun, but that doesn't mean that I've neglected my quilting. So with that, we're going to talk about work in progress storage today. And so as a quilter, you know, we all have lots of work in progress, or WIPs as they call them. And so I've been trying to get better at finishing them, but also knowing where they are to finish them. So if you watched the fabric storage video from a couple days ago, you kind of saw a little bit of what I touched on as far as where my WIPs are stored or where they will be stored. And so I'm gonna give you a little tour of some other places in my room that I store things and how they can come together. So once upon a time when I did more scrapbooking than I do now, and a lot less sewing than I do now, I bought this organizer thing, and it had those like 12 by 12 paper packs in it and a bunch of other like random stuff. Once I decided that I accepted that I wasn't scrapbooking much anymore, I almost got rid of this, and I had it like wheeled out, ready to go to donation. And then I was like, what am I thinking? This is perfect for storing quilt stuff in. So let's take a look at what I've got in here. I see Elizabeth Hartman. So what were we gonna do here? Oh, I think these are just miscellaneous things right now. Yeah. So I've got a couple patterns in here. I think these were like things I was planning on doing. Yes, I had some different things in mind. So I have some patterns in here, and then let's see if I have actual work in progress in here. So these are the 12 by 12 bins, and they worked perfectly. Oh, that's stuck. Ooh, that's fabric. I don't know. Oh, I know what was happening. This, I was gonna do the freewheeling single girl quilt, and I still want to do that quilt. It's just a variation on the double wedding ring, but just one circle. Somebody told me I couldn't do it now because I'm married, but poo-poo to them. I'm gonna do it someday. And so this was all the fabric I had for that, so I guess that was kind of a WIP in its own right. But I think I'm gonna move this out and come back to the single girl when I'm good and ready, and probably make it a lot more scrappy than just blue. Ooh, sorry about that noise. That's empty. So see, I've got room for more WIPs in here. This is the leftover, so more fabric that I can migrate out. This is the leftovers from the, oh, what was that quilt called? I made a quilt for my mom, and it was using fabrics from her scrap, and it ended up being blue, blue, cream, and gray, and this is what was left over from it. So these can obviously migrate out. I know I have a picture of it, and I just can't think of the name of the quilt. How awful is that? I will know as soon as I post it, but these can all get migrated out so I can have another empty bin. So, good thing we're sorting fabric. Here is, oh my goodness, aggressive, I'm sorry. This is a work in progress, finally in here. So this was a class that I took that was a Wonky star class, and it's all, this is like super scrappy. This is so out of my element, but see how everything's all these different low volumes? This was kind of a challenge at the time for me then, and it should be now. So there are 4 quadrants for this quilt, and I think I have 1, 2 done. So I have 2 more to do. And as you notice, it's grunge, it's stars, there's cats in there. And so the option was, look at all this scrap. So, oh, here we go. This I think is the whole thing. So here is, I have all the things cut. You just have to do it. And so that's the map for it. What I did is, and so I flipped these 2 so it wouldn't be the same all over. So I just need to reassess this situation. See, things are all cut, and I just need to remember how to do them. So maybe at some point this year, this Wonky star quilt will get done, and then I can show it off at my guild, and everyone will ooh and ah. And so that's that one. Oh, that's just awful sound. And that one's empty. So clearly, I can revamp this and fit 5 more WIPs in there because there's only 1 actual WIP. But then let's go and talk about the cube shelf. Okay, so it's a little darker under here because I've got a quilt on my frame, but here's some of my plans for what these were. So in here, I've got a couple kits of different things. Like this is one of the June Taylor tote bags. That's the batting for it. This is I got that from work for an event, 2 placemats. And then I've ended up with 3 of these. So I thought I was gonna make them for my bridesmaids because that would give me 6 total, but that didn't happen. They'll maybe at some point. So those are there. I don't know if I have anything else in any of these other ones. Let's find out. So my goal is, like I said before, oh, here we go. This is, I won this off an Instagram giveaway. And so that's all space fabric that needs to be made into something. That is, I know exactly what this is. This is, just like it says, Quicksilver for large Dyna quilt. So this is a bunch of half yards that were oops cut that I ended up buying to be the background for the large version of the dinosaur quilt. This is hanging out in here because it was supposed to be done for Quiltmas last year, but that didn't happen. So that'll be possibly making its return for Quiltmas. And so, like I said, this is like short-term storage because obviously, as you can see, it's, oh, that's the jelly roll for that quilt, so that needs to go together. So this is here, this is here, so this is the joyful, look, a WIP. And so that's my goal, is these are gonna be very short-lived, like little hotel rooms for my quilts to come and go in. And then this, in all its dusty glory, is going to be, oh, I hope the pattern's in here. That would be dumb of me to not have it in here. So this is the kitty cat quilt from Cluck Cluck Sew. There it is. Oh, good. Look at me being smart. So this is the whole quilt set all in here. So we've got the pattern, the background, and then all the fat quarters. So this is Pajama Cats from Patrick Lose for Northcott Studio. It's a 13 fat quarter bundle, and that's what my kitty cats are going to be made out of. And this is my plan to take for retreat. So since this box is not part of the drawer set and it's not one of these cubes, my plan is to cut this out, put everything back in there, and then that can travel with me to be a whip on the road. So those are my little peek at all my whips and my plans for my whips and my tuto, because I love my tuto so much. Obviously it's the right color. And then over here as well, this is kind of where more pre-cuts went to live. So I'm trying to get organized, as you can see. Making these videos and calling myself out has been actually pretty helpful. So, so there you have it. A little peek at that. And now we're gonna go sew that 3-yard shadow play quilt together. So you may be looking at these and going, that was supposed to be a different fabric. And yes, it was. It was supposed to be this just cream with glitter, but I cut my things the right width, but then I cut them at a rectangle shape that was smaller than this needed to trim up to be, so I was out of luck. But I was in luck because I had more of this fabric. So this is going to be my house for triangles now. Well, obviously it is. And so now I'm going to sew this guy on top. And then once I do that, this one's going to go on the side, and that's going to make that block. And then we have the solid blocks, which are going to be here. And then I'm going to sew the glitter on the top and the glitter down the side. And then that's going to make those blocks. So let's go make some blocks. So this is how block A turned out, here's block B. So now I've got to sew them in rows of 3 across, 5 down, and then put some borders on, and we'll have a finished quilt top. So I'm going to go ahead and get to it. And here is our first look at the finished shadow play quilt. I really like how it came together, and I think I almost like this fabric being in here more so than it being just this plain one. I think it adds a little something extra in there, and it already gives me some ideas of pantographs that I have to quilt it. I'm gonna text this to my sister as a joke and see if she needs another quilt out of her wedding fabric. She ended up not having blue as her wedding color, so I ended up making the quilt before then. But anyways, I think it came together quite nicely, and it's going to be a really nice quilt for somebody. This pattern did seem a little skinnier than some of the other 3-yard quilts. I think it's the 3x5 layout that did that. It's still a good length, but it just does seem a little bit more narrow than the other ones. I'll have to look at what the measurements are, but in the meantime, take a gander at the finished shadow play quilt, and we'll be back real soon to do more with it.